today's working lunch, we have Rebby from Freya's Haven, who's going to be leading us in mindfulness meditation for the busy and fidgety. So I'm going to turn my screen off because we're all here to enjoy, and let Rebby take it from here.
And I was muted. Sorry. Are you going to mute yours?
Yep.
Okay, good. Because the echo would not be good for mindful for me to be mindful of what I'm trying to talk about. So welcome everybody here on Zoom and who is here in person. I am going to just be totally upfront and honest. This is the first time I've taught this class live. The email course that I do has been up and running for the last 6 months, but this is the first time I've transitioned it into a live format. So I'm going to pass out some sheets of paper. If you think of anything, positive feedback, constructive feedback, whatever you want to provide, I would love to have it. If it's a blurb that I can put on my website, you thought it was great, that would be fantastic too. So actually, if you just take a sheet of paper and pass that along, that would be great. Why isn't this? There we go. All right, so while we're doing that, since we're here for meditation, let's take a moment to settle in. So maybe we rushed getting here, what have you. Stop for just a second. Get really comfortable wherever you are. Roll your shoulders up, back and down into those pockets in the back of your shoulders or the back of your back. And we're going to take 2 really deep breaths. Inhale, noisy exhale out through our mouth. One more inhale. And whatever it is that stressed you out, made you want to smack somebody this morning, put that all in the biggest exhale. All right, let's get started. So real quick, just a little bit about me. Again, my name is Rebby Goebel. I am a mama, first and foremost, to 2 kids who happen to have some special education needs. And that is really what drove me onto this path of trying to find meditation that worked inside my crazy, busy, hectic, drama-filled at times life. I am a business owner. I have Freya's Haven, where I like to sling crystals and for both bracelets and items for your home. Again, the focus is about having an intention and being mindful and finding something that brings you back into that mindful moment. I'm also a recovering type A worrywart, so meditation was definitely what I needed. I was go, go, go. Always overscheduled and under rested. And I consider myself an intuitive empath, which just means that I can sense the energy in a room and I absorb it. So when I get home, if somebody else was pissed, I feel like they were pissed at me. Even if they weren't mad at me, I feel like they were mad at me. So meditation has given me a way to separate myself from absorbing that icky feeling. We've all been in those situations where you've overheard somebody fighting or what have you. So I thought we would start a little bit here today with dispelling some myths about meditation, thinking that if we can get on the same page as to what we're all talking about, then we can move forward from there with learning some techniques that you can use in those moments that you really need them. Okay, you have to sit still. Wrong. We are going to talk about how you can incorporate mindfulness in your movements, in your activities. I call it meditation in motion. Your mind must be totally empty. You are going to have thoughts because your brain is still alive. The trick is to acknowledge those thoughts and move through them, move past them, deal with them if you need to, But the goal is not necessarily to have a totally clear mind. So you're not doing it wrong if you sit down to meditate and thoughts are popping up in your head, because you are alive and your brain is doing what it needs to do to keep you alive. It takes a lot of time. I'm going to teach you some tools that you can use in 30 seconds. What we just did to get settled here counts as a meditation. So it does not have to take a lot of time. You don't need 30 minutes in your schedule. That's great if you have it. But let's be honest, when we need these moments is in the thick of it, in carpool, when you're about to like run another parent over because they aren't following the rules. Not that I know from personal experience, but you need it before you hit send on that fiery email. You need it before you pick up the phone and make that phone call that just has your stomach in knots because you know there's going to be confrontation or disagreement in that phone call. That's when you need it, not when you have this lovely elusive 30 extra minutes in your morning that you can just sit and be folded into lotus pose. And then the other thing here is some people have concerns that meditation goes against your religion. The way I like to look at this is whatever divine being you might connect with, when you pray, you're speaking to them. And when you meditate, that's when you shut up and listen. This is you calming your mind and giving yourself the space to hear those messages before they become a shout and a smack upside the back of the head. We've all had those when the universe is nudging you one direction or another. And if you don't listen, if you don't give yourself the space to listen, it can get intense. So I like to say it doesn't go against any religion. It's just giving yourself the space to hear what the messages that are coming through. And the top one, the top myth that I see, the top excuse that I see is that taking time to meditate is selfish. I'm going to give you some tools here today that fit into those micro moments of time, but sitting down and taking 5, 10, 15 minutes is not selfish. Tonight, you're going to plug in your computer, you're going to plug in your phone, you're going to make sure that those things are charged and have the energy that they need to go through tomorrow. So whatever plans you're going to put on them tomorrow, you're going to make sure that your devices have the energy that they need. This is you plugging yourself in and making sure that you have the energy and you're in the right headspace to move forward for your own next day. All right, so how do we fit meditation into our current lives? We're going to talk about 3 kind of buckets of meditation. They each build on each other as far as the time that it requires, a little bit different techniques as we go. So we're going to be talking through some breathing techniques, habit stacking, and then how to meditate within a structure. I don't know how many of you might follow Jay Shetty on either Facebook or Instagram, but he is rather Instagram famous. He was a Buddhist monk, turned influencer and self-help guru. But one of the stories that he tells is that when he arrived at monk school, the very first lesson that they get, that little, the students, whether they're kids or whether they're adults coming into monk school, is not a mantra, it's not a prayer, it's not how to sit, it's how to breathe. It's the only thing that is with you from the first breath you take until the last breath you take. And if you think back over experiences that you may have had, it's the first thing to change in response to your thoughts, emotions, and feelings about the situation that you're in. If you start to notice, you'll start to breathe shallower, you'll breathe faster, kind of makes your shoulders crunch up around your ears. You can control your breath, you can control your own response to those thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are happening and whatever else the situation is that's happening around you. So that's why the foundation of this, and what we're going to probably spend the most time on, is some breathwork exercises. Because if you can control your breath, you can handle anything that's coming at you. So the first technique is called micro meditation. I like to call it stop, drop, and breathe. So whenever you find yourself in a situation that you are feeling the energy starting to swirl, starting to ramp up, or where you are about to make your phone call, you're about to hit send on that email that you really know you shouldn't have, whenever you feel like you're about to take an action that's out of alignment with who you want to be, I have done this when my kid was younger and having a full-blown meltdown. And any of the moms in here know there's a difference between like a tantrum and like a meltdown that they can't control. And I got him flipped into his car seat, and I knew that if I got right into that car, I was going to string some 4-letter words together and say something that wasn't going to help my 5-year-old calm down and was going to make me feel like shit on the backside. Like I was going to feel guilty for that. So I got him clipped in, I closed the car door, and I stood in the Target parking lot, and I took 2 deep centering breaths, just like we did to start. And that was enough to calm me down enough, recenter myself so that I could get into the car, deal with what was happening, and get home. Now, I may have cried into the dishes later that day. I may have had my own meltdown later, but in that moment, it allowed me to be who I wanted to be and respond within my intention and my own integrity. I didn't do something out of alignment with the parent that I wanted to be. And you can apply that across any of the business situations that we're in or with your partner. The act of stopping and the dropping is, if you can, sit on the floor. The act of sitting on the floor grounds us. It reconnects us to the earth and the energy that flows within the earth. And it's a physical change in your body to actually sit down on the ground, whether that's in the middle of your kitchen while you're making dinner and you just ruined it and you're about to lose your mind, or dealing with your kids in the middle of the playroom, whatever the situation is. If you can't sit on the floor, if you can change your body somehow out of the position that you are in. So if you were sitting, getting ready to type an email, stand up, stop, stand up, put your hand on your heart and do those 2 deep breaths. The change in position signals to your body and your brain, we're stopping what we were doing, which was spiraling in our mind, getting anxious, getting ramped up. And then we're going to move forward in a different path. So stop, drop, and breathe is that micro meditation that you can do at a stoplight, that you can do standing outside your car in the Target parking lot, or just before you do something that you know you're going to regret later. Now, this one seems ludicrous because it's so simple, but let me tell you that I am claustrophobic and I had to have a 45-minute MRI on my brain where they literally strap your head down and shove you into a tube for 45 minutes. I thought it was going to be an open MRI when I went, and it was not. This got me through 45 minutes, and I didn't panic, and I didn't move. They didn't have to retake any of the things. I stayed stock still, heart rate steady by doing this. It's as simple as counting to 20. You breathe in, 1, out, 2. And you go up to 20, and then you start over again. It's so simple. You don't have to be thinking, okay, now what was I supposed to do? Now I was supposed to be thinking, oh, what was next? You just count to 20. If you're doing it for a long period of time, you will lose track of your place. That's fine. Start over. You may drift off. You may fall asleep, depending on where you are, what you're trying, if you're laying still in an MRI, you might actually nod off, which I did, which was outstanding. But this has gotten me through biopsies, MRIs on my brain, all of those situations where you're just needing to be totally focused and get through whatever it is. Count to 20. If you've got a minute, you can do this. It's 20 breaths. This one is called square breathing, and depending on what kind of therapy you might have been exposed to, this is a pretty common one for dealing with anxiety. So it's called square breathing because you have 4 different actions here that you're going to take, and each one is 4 counts each. So you're going to inhale 2, 3, 4. So you're inhaling the whole 4 counts, and then you're going to hold your breath for 4 counts. And then you exhale for 4 counts, real slow exhale, and then you hold your breath after the exhale for 4 counts. It's a little uncomfortable to do it. It takes some practice, but because it's such a tried and true anxiety tool, I wanted to make sure that we included it because I feel like a lot of us deal with anxiety whether we realize it or not. So if you're starting to spin and your brain is starting to get out of control, doing square breathing might work for you. I'll be totally honest, it's not my favorite. I much prefer the counting to 20 or just taking 2 deep breaths. But it is such a tried and true method that I wanted to make sure that I included it. And if anybody has any questions as we go, please feel free to do it. This is actually a 10-day email course that I'm pulling into 1 hour. So there's a lot that I'm trying to cover, a lot I had to leave out. So if there's any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. But I did want to leave a little bit of time so that we could do one of the more structured meditations at the end together. So habit stacking is important because if you're trying to actually create a habit, it's one of the best ways to actually make it a habit is to attach your new behavior onto an existing behavior. The first way we can do that with meditation is incorporate it into an activity. Meditation is simply to focus. The root of the word to meditate is actually means to focus, not to clear your mind. So think about your own activities. What is something that you love to do where your brain just turns off, where it just goes quiet, the mental chatter drops away, and you're in that Zen flow state? It might be while you're painting, it might be while you're running. For me, I find it when I walk or when I do yoga, because the focus that's required of the poses allows me to just get laser focused on that one thing. And I'm not thinking about the to-do list. I'm not thinking about the fight with my sister. I'm not thinking about all those other things. I'm just able to focus and your mind just goes blissfully quiet. So you can meditate anywhere, doing anything. My best friend is insane because she loves going to the grocery store. I hate going to the grocery store, but she loves it. And so she actually, in practicing this, went to the grocery store and just like walked up and down the aisles and was able to find her happy place. Well, I know, see, I'm with you. Like, no, like I would outsource that in a heartbeat. But my point being, you can do it anywhere, doing anything that brings you joy. just being deliberate about how you are doing that activity can bring you into that mindful state. So where do you get that state of flow? Again, for my husband, it's when he's outside mowing the lawn and planting something in the yard. He's not thinking about his work to-do list. Everything's just quiet. That's why he's out there like all weekend, every weekend. So just try and incorporate meditation into an activity that you're already doing. And this doesn't require you then to find an additional 20 minutes. It doesn't require you to do anything different physically or with your schedule. It just means that you're going to have a slightly different intention and focus while you do that activity. Vacuuming, cleaning, running, whatever it is that you might want to do. And then, like I said, habit stacking is adding meditation to a habit that you already have. So let's say you're a daily runner and you want to do something, again, we're building, right? So each of these techniques requires a little bit more time, a little bit more effort, a little bit more forethought from you. So if you're a daily runner, take the 5 minutes right after your run and use that as your meditative time. You've already shocked your body. Your body is in a receptive state by working out, whether that's lifting or running or walking like I do. And then take those 5 minutes right after you've stretched so that you don't immediately cramp and get your mind right. If you are familiar with the Whole30 and the creator Melissa Urban, and you follow her Instagram stories at all, she rather famously sits down in the middle of her gym and does her mind right. It's exercise for her body and exercise for her brain to make sure that everything is she's ready to step forward into her day. So she's not in the middle of the gym, but she's not hiding in the stairwell. She's claiming her space and taking that time to make sure that her mind is right after she does her exercise. And it's a super easy way to do it. If you have a morning coffee habit where you go and you start a pot of coffee and then you spend that like 5 minutes while it's brewing scrolling Instagram, instead take that 5 minutes that you already brew a pot of coffee every morning, those 5 minutes right afterwards, turn that into your meditation time. I guarantee it will pay you more dividends than scrolling Instagram will any day, as far as your ability to, again, stay in alignment with who you want to be as you move forward through the rest of your day. Okay, so then moving on to meditation with a structure. Some people, when they sit down and they think, okay, I've got 5 minutes, what do I do? Has it been 5 minutes yet? Like looking at the clock, like I hear the water dripping and what's going on? So meditating with some sort of structure can be a really great way to do it yourself. There's guided meditations, there's apps, there's YouTube channels, there's podcasts, there's a ton of resources out there, but you don't always have access to that, nor do I always want somebody else's voice inside my head. Meditation is that moment where I shut up and listen. So we're going to go over 2 ways that you can have meditation with a structure. So this is the one that I want us to do together, and we've got plenty of time. Somehow when I walked myself through this yesterday, I had a lot more to say, apparently. Or I'm just talking really, really fast here today. Sorry, everybody. So let's go ahead and walk through this together after after we talk through it. We're just going to take a couple of minutes and actually do this 4-part meditation, because this one can get really juicy. So the 4 parts are gratitude, service, support, and then breathe. So starting with gratitude, I want you to get really specific about what you're thankful for in that moment. It can be a thing, a person, a place, an idea, whatever it is, but it's not like, oh, I'm so thankful that I have, you know, the best kids ever. Like, what specifically are you thankful for? I'm so thankful that they were kind to another child on the playground today and the teacher took that time to tell me about it. I'm so thankful that this collaboration I'm working on is coming together so smoothly and it's going to benefit both of us. I'm so thankful that this blanket is so fuzzy, it feels like a bunny, and it's the best thing ever. And I'm snuggly and I'm warm and it's cold outside. I'm so thankful for this blanket. But really being mindful and trying to pull in all of your senses, just like in any sort of visualization work, you want to pull in all of the senses that you can. So what are you thankful for? And use as many of your senses as you can. The second piece is service. So, who can you send some love to? Whether it's prayers, lifting them up in prayer, sending them good vibes, however you want to think about it. But think about someone in your life who could use a little extra love. And take a moment to really think about maybe what specifically would help them. What could you send? Do they need support? Do they need understanding? Do they need connection? Do they just need a freaking break? Like something to go their way? And try and send that energy to them. Like, I hope everything goes really well for them today. I hope that medical procedure is fast and recovery is painless. I hope that test is easy. Whatever it is, again, being really specific about it. And then the third piece is think about support. What do you need today? Maybe something will immediately come to your mind. I need rest. I need to like nail my to-do list to the freaking wall and cross it all off. I need help. I need to get really grounded. I need to have fun. What is it that you need to make that day the best version of that day possible? And it's going to be different every day. Like I said, sometimes you're going to sit and you're going to be like, what do I need? And something will immediately land. Your intuition is talking to you and it'll be like, I just need to go back to bed, or I need the productivity. And other times I have to flip through some of those prompts. And then one will land a little bit harder than the other ones as I'm mentally going, well, do I need rest? Do I need comfort? Do I need support? Do I need joy? Do I need fun? And then one will land and be like, fun. I'm going to take time to play with my kids today, or I'm going to paint, or I'm going to do whatever it is that works for you. And again, this is the visualization work of bringing in all of your senses and thinking about what is that best version of the day possible for you. And you get to decide what that is. And then at the end, after you've gone through your gratitude, service, and support, take a minute to just breathe. Come back to your intention for the day and be centered in who you are and what you want for your day. And then you open up your eyes and you move on with your day. Now, it took me a long time to explain all those 4 parts, but you can do it in 2 minutes. And like I said, with the meditation in motion, if you have a Sonicare toothbrush that like every 30 seconds it beeps, right? And you move it to a different part in your mouth, every 30 seconds, move on to a different part of your meditation. You're standing there brushing your teeth in the morning. Okay, I'm thankful for clean teeth. But use the time, those pockets of time that you already have, to pull some mindfulness into your day. So I thought we would try this together. So we're gonna probably be somewhere between the 2 to 4 minutes. Okay. I'll kind of give you a cue of what we're gonna move to, but just everybody, again, take a big deep breath. Gently close your eyes if you feel comfortable. If you want to leave them open, that's fine. Just soften your gaze. Shoulders down, away from your ears. What are you grateful for today? What just makes your heart a little extra squeezy? And we can all hear the voices in the background. Just let them be, because we know we can find our peace no matter where we are, no matter what's going on. Now, turn your attention to somebody who's struggling, someone who means so much to you. Maybe they don't even know how much they mean to you, but they need a little extra support today. Envision whatever it is that you're sending them, whether it's prayers or energy, good vibes, bathing them in golden light. So that even though they're not in this room with you right now, they can feel the support that you're sending them. Now, what do you need for the rest of your day? Ignore what happened over the weekend. Ignore what happened earlier this week. Ignore this morning. What do you need for the rest of your afternoon and your evening? Imagine the juiciest, most amazing version of your day and what you need to receive in order for that to happen. When you're ready, take a big inhale and an open mouth, noisy exhale. Let it all out. One more. Inhale. Know that you have called whatever it is into your life and the life of your loved ones. Let it all out. Okay. When you're ready, open up your eyes. That's all it takes. That was like 2.5 minutes. So you can make this as long and juicy as you want. You can set a timer if you want. One of my favorite ways is I have a couple of songs that I just love, the ones that make your heart soar, where the lyrics are good and you just feel good after listening to it. And I will listen to that one song and go through this for that duration. So I'm not looking at my watch, like, how long have I been doing this? I know that there's an end point there, which again alleviates some of that anxiety of how long am I supposed to sit here? How long am I supposed to do this? So find a song that you love. There's a beautiful song by India Ari called I Am Light. It's one my yoga teacher loved to play during Shavasana. It's like in the right mood, you'll just be crying because it's such a beautiful song. So empowering and self-affirming. I have a playlist that's available through my full meditation course of some songs that have really spoken to me. But you can use that song as your beginning and end point for doing your meditation. And we've all sat in the driveway long enough to like finish listening to a song that was on. You can do it then. Use that as a transition in your car. Like, I'm stepping out of work mode and now I'm in home mode. Use it as a transition coming into work mode, right? So you get here in the parking lot, listen to your song, center yourself, and then step forward into your day knowing that you have defined for yourself what success looks like for the day and what you need to feel that way throughout your day. Okay, and I couldn't not address the crystal situation as it comes to meditation. So one of my favorite ways is to use a physical anchor. Fidgets are popular for a reason, right? If you give your hands something to do, then you can kind of calm your mind down a little bit, allows you to focus. My kids use them all the time. I don't care if it's a lucky rabbit's foot, twirling the lock of your hair, whatever, improvise. You can use whatever you want. But as far as having a beginning and an end point, using a set of meditation beads can be really, really useful. So meditation beads are similar to a rosary or malas, if you've ever heard of those. So a traditional set of meditation beads is 108 beads long. This is a commitment, I won't lie. This will take you about 25 minutes to go through. What you do, much like a rosary, is you hold it in your hand and you have a mantra that you repeat or an affirmation, whatever it is that you're trying to work on that day. And you would say it, move the next bead into your hand, say it again, move the next bead into your hand, say it again, and so on and so forth. 108 is a divine number in a lot of different religions. Actually, it's interesting that it shows up in multiple religions as it's all tangled up. Whether it's mythology or different forms, the Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, 108 shows up. But again, this is a commitment. So if you're really into your meditation practice, one of these is a beautiful way to do it. But since I'm all into the micro meditations, I've created pockets of peace. They literally can fit into your pocket, and you can do them in the pocket of time that you have. So same concept. This takes about 5 minutes to go through. And again, gives you a beginning and an end. So you would start at your focus bead, which is the one here in the center. You would start just behind that. I write for mine, I have sets of 3 mantras that I give so that you can move through them if you want, one after the other. You can pick your own, however you want to do it. You can just say, I'm not going to lose it today. I'm not going to lose it today. Whatever your chosen affirmation is, I'm going to kill that presentation today. I'm going to be successful, whatever it is. Move it all around through your hand. And then when you get to the focus bead, that's your moment to take your 2 deep breaths, really feel the work that you've just done in visualizations, affirmations, mantras, whatever you want to call it, and then move on with your day. You're done. So I don't generally carry mine around. My mom does. Moms, whatever. I'm sure that's what my boys say about me all the time. Mom, whatever. But it's a good reminder, just like people carry a rosary around, or you might wear a cross or whatever. But it's about having that physical reminder, be it in your pocket or sitting on your desk, of who you wanted to be when you opened up your eyes this morning. Who do you want to be? What was your intention? How did you want to interact with the world today? And so sometimes having a physical reminder of that is exactly what you need, so that it's not this thing that you don't think about until tomorrow morning again, when you're like, oh, right, I didn't want to lose it yesterday, and I did. Whereas if you have something physical with you, it keeps that intention more in the forefront of your own mind. So, any questions? I feel like I threw a lot at you. Like I said, this is a 10-day course. It's available for free right now. It's an email course. So self-paced, you'll get 1 email a week, or 1 email a day, Monday through Friday, and has some more resources that I just didn't have time to add in to this here. But any thoughts, questions? Yeah.
So I think for me, sometimes just remembering to add meditation to my day can be a struggle. Do you have any tips for even remembering? Does it take the kind of mindfulness out of it when you have a calendar reminder? Or
No.
Yeah, do you have any tips?
No, and again, yeah, I think it goes back to that habit stacking.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to tie it to your coffee habit, right? Then having a Post-it note on the coffee machine that says, remember to meditate, is perfect. If it's if you stop at Starbucks every day, I don't know, put a geo reminder in your phone, right? Like, remind me every time I'm at, Starbucks, that I wanted to meditate after this. No, I would absolutely put a reminder in your phone if you wanted to. Schedule the time. We all know that which gets scheduled gets done. Even if it's on a to-do list, fine. But if it's actually in your calendar, then it gets done. But again, I think just having the ability to meditate on the fly, I think you'll find that if you're seriously interested in doing it, being able to do it in 30 seconds at a stoplight, you will start to find those little pockets of time while you're filling up your water. You can take those 30 seconds while your water is filling. You're gonna, people might think you're goofy standing over there, but put your hand on your heart and just get centered. Every time you fill your water bottle, take 2 deep breaths. That's all it takes. I think we overcomplicate this and we feel like we've got to have those 30 minutes or a calendar, notice or whatever. But if you just, I think we're all underestimating how much time we spend scrolling Instagram. And, so like every time you open up your phone, take 2 deep breaths. Or every time you reach for your phone, take 2 deep breaths before you open it up. And those will stack up. Those add up over the course of a day and a week and a month. And, find a one word that resonates with you. for whatever your day is, so that as you're filling up your water, you're like, peace. That's all it takes. Because again, your breath is the first thing to go. So whatever situation it is that you're finding your breathing is shallow, your shoulders are up in your ears, you're breathing a little bit faster than normal, stop, drop, and breathe. Like, just stop that cycle and weave these little micro moments of mindfulness into your schedule, and you won't need a calendar. You won't need a calendar notice or a reminder. But as you're getting started, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it doesn't need to be that big of a deal, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite apps, meditation apps?
Yeah, so I go over that in the course. I started with Headspace. Headspace is pretty good because it's like a 10, I think it's 10 for 10 is what their program used to be, where it was 10 minutes a day for 10 days in a row to build it up. It used to be free. I'm not sure if it's still free. Insight Timer seems to be a really great app. I tend to want to be mindful on my own, and I'm not personally a big guided meditation person. But Insight Timer is really cool because they have classes, they have lectures, they have meditations that are 2 minutes long, 60 minutes long. I find that the apps, again, can be a little overwhelming as far as you spend more time scrolling through trying to find the one that you want to do or that sounds interesting or looks interesting, whereas if you just spent that time walking through the 4-part meditation, you maybe would have been better off, because then you're like, well, crap, now I don't have time to do any of these because I spent 10 minutes looking through the 20,000 options that are there. So not to discourage you, but I think you either need to, if you're starting out, finding a structured program that is like, these are your 10 meditations and you do one right after the other so you don't have to think about it. It's a little autopilot at that point. I think when you're starting, that is maybe the best way to go. But yeah, Insight Timer was a really great option, and then Headspace.
I've used Calm for several years.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoyed that. It's free. Several free items they have a membership,
Yeah.
basically get everything.
And I think Calm also had a kids section. I think Calm has a kids section where it's so if you have kids in your life that need a chill pill.
I mean, they have guided meditation. They have like stories that people read. They have just sounds in general, which I use that a lot too.
Mm-hmm. I have one that I think they have guided meditations too. I use it more like a white noise machine to fall asleep to. I think that one's called Relax Melodies. And they again have the stories and that kind of stuff. But that one I got in when it was still free. That one I think you have to pay for, and they can get expensive. So if you want to invest in it, it's like anything. I'm sure it will pay dividends. But again, I think we overcomplicate it and feel like we need an app, we need somebody to guide us through it, when it's really as simple as putting your hand on your heart and taking 2 deep breaths and then go from there. So I would say try some of the simpler techniques before you dive into that. But it's definitely worth experimenting and seeing what works for you. Those are super popular for a reason.
I was going to say, in my experience, I felt that I needed like this 30 minutes at the beginning of the day where it was mine and I needed to meditate. And I did 30-minute gratitudes every day, Monday, every day. And I noticed a change in my life in the aspect of being more grateful and aware of all the good things in my life. But as I continued it, I learned that I was already meditating in my walking every day, and I learned that I was meditating when I was writing, even when I was working, because I loved what we do so much. Like, the piecing together of words and figuring, it's not necessarily the actual content, but it's like the piecing together of the words and what order should they go in the sentence. Like that is where I enjoy it. And that is meditating to me. And like the structure of meditating every day helped me see that I was already doing it. And and then I realized like I was putting too much emphasis on the 30 minutes. Like if I missed one, I would beat myself up over it. Or if I didn't have time, I overslept. And it's not about beating yourself up. It's about being aware and noticing and letting it go and not do it. Like, don't say I'm not going to do that again because you're probably going to forget it. Like every time.
Well, and one of the things that I forgot to say is like there are times where when I'm sitting down and I do have the 5 minutes and something will pop in my head and we talked, you're going to have thoughts. But if it's important and it's a to-do list item, I will stop meditating. I will add it to my to-do list and then I will go right back to my meditation. Like, I just want to empower everybody that you can't do this wrong, because it's about finding what works for you and what brings you to that state. It's like, I love a good bullet journal, right? But people get torqued about making it artsy and it's got to be beautiful. And I'm like, this is a tool. I'm going to scratch stuff out. I'm going to grab whatever pen I have. It's a planner, people. Like, and maybe the art process is meditative for them, but when they beat themselves up and when they don't use a tool for the fear of making a mistake, I think you're missing the point. So don't feel like there's like, I mean, there are meditation teachers out there that will say it has to be this way and it has to be a Sanskrit mantra and it's got to be this long and you've got to do that. I'm just going to call BS on that, because it's all about your connection with you and with your divine being, which whoever you connect to, right? So it's just giving your brain space to shut up. And that will set you up for amazing changes in your life. I like who I am as a mother now. And 5 years ago, I was stressed. I was crying into the dishes. I didn't know how to handle the challenges that, the special needs my kids had were bringing into my life. And I was responding out of fear, and I was out of alignment with who I wanted to be as a parent for them, who I wanted to be as a person. And it changed my life. You will see it flow through, where all of a sudden you'll be like, I see the humanity in the other person. And I can see that they just had a rough day. And I don't need to let that make me have a rough day or make me feel like I want to pile onto their rough day with how I respond. And it's so empowering to have that to tap into that well that's within you. I really think so.
And we don't even know that well exists a lot of the time, in my opinion.
Totally.
I learned a lot through meditation that I also unlearned and then learned it again in a different way, because you're never the same person every day. And I think that's why the consistency, you're always the same person, but like your feelings aren't the same. And like some days I feel like I can take on the world, and then there are other days like last week where I felt like I can't function. And there's like learning how to meditate through that and like trust the process. Like I always equate everything to writing, but like writing is a process and eventually things come together. Meditation, like everything's a process. Life is a process.
Yeah.
And I think like it connects a lot of dots, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Totally. Yeah. Again, it's giving your subconscious a chance to bring those connections to light and to bring those lessons to light that you maybe wouldn't have slowed down enough to hear. And I just, firmly believe that if you don't listen to the universe when it whispers, it's going to get louder and louder until it smacks you up the backside of the head. And those are unpleasant lessons to learn at that point. And so if you're giving yourself the space to connect those dots, to work on yourself, it just makes you a better business owner, a better partner, a better friend, and you're happier within yourself. It just makes you a better individual.
It helps
Because
you know who you are a little more.
agreed.
We spend a lot of time with a lot of people, but we don't always take that time for ourselves to get to know ourselves. And I think that's my biggest struggle right now.
No, I like what you said about unlearning. I think we are given so many external lessons or external messages, and you never stop to go, does that really work for me? Is that like, okay, girl boss, girl power, let's do it, let's hustle. Do I need to hustle today? Is hustle really the right choice for me today? Or am I feeling tender and I just need to take a bath at noon with like the best bath bomb I have, right? And then I can get back to my day. But right now, I'm feeling tender or whatever it might be. And meditation gives you the space to ask yourself those questions and hear the answer.
It feels like it allows you to prioritize yourself.
Totally.
And we're kind of trained not to.
Absolutely.
And so again, it's on learning. I do want to share just a few things from the chat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't have that.
No, I have it.
Thank you.
I would have told you if any immediate questions.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, Emily Stahl said, you're doing amazing.
Thank you.
April is also a type A. She said same. She loves squared reading for her anxiety, and she also learned about habit stacking from reading Atomic Habits.
Mhm.
So she recommended Atomic Habits to anyone here. April also uses the Calm app. She said that it helped her over the last year and a half, and now it makes doing it on her own much easier. So it's daily calm.
Mhm.
And yeah, April just said that was her yesterday. She took the afternoon off to read a book outside in the gorgeous weather. So allowing yourself again.
Right. And to me, the productivity that you'll see, I don't know if that's been your experience, but you will actually see a bump in your productivity because you're focused and you've cleared the junk out of your mind. And so you can move forward with purpose, knowing what the vision is that you've created for your day and how you want to move through it. So as a business owner, I find it a very beneficial tool.
I struggle with, like when you get that tingly feeling and you feel so like in it, like you're meditating and you hear the time, it's time to be done and actually tackle whatever you have to do. Sometimes like I don't want to get up and I can't, like it almost is paralyzing in a sense of like it does help me, but then I think you can also overdo it to the point where you're like, I'm in my head. I feel like I'm learning like when to stop meditating, not stop, but take action. Yeah. That's where I'm at right now. I don't know. It's always changing and it's always something different.
Absolutely. But I think that as we grow, progress, I mean, we all know, we've seen the memes, right? Progress isn't linear, it's a squiggle. I think it's more of a spiral staircase. You're going to see the same view, so you're going to see the same lesson, but you are higher in your learning. You're in a higher place, so your perspective on that view changes just a little bit as you grow and move around, but you're going to see the same things pop up time and time again. And meditation allows you to see that your perspective has changed. And so, yes, it's the same lesson. Yes, I'm really tired of this lesson. Universe, can we move on from this lesson? But you can give yourself the grace and give yourself the kudos of that. I have grown since the last time I saw this challenge, and I am responding to it differently this time because of that growth. So it helps you see that shift in perspective as you're on that next rung up on the spiral staircase.
Just being mindful of time.
Yes.
At our hour, you're amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Do you? And you can. I mean, we can all hang out, but I do want to be mindful for the virtual folks.
Do you mind muting yours really quick? Because I'm gonna just do a little housekeeping.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hang on. Stop sharing.
Okay. Can you hear me over there?
Yeah.
Hey, sorry. All right. Thank you, everyone that was with us virtually. This was recorded, so we're going to be sharing it in the Facebook group and also on the back end of the website. But again, Ravi, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Before we let you go, Kathleen, Christina, or April, any questions for Ravi? Okay.
None for me. This was so good.
Thank you.
I was just gonna say I don't have any questions, but I just really loved. I'm very much like a type A, like control freak, and I think meditation, when I started it a couple of years ago, it kind of took hold of me in like a negative way, where I was like doing it just to check a box, you know. And I think like now hearing Rebby talk about it in a way of like just fitting it in wherever I can, and knowing that like I don't have to just sit down for 30 minutes to check a box that I meditated today. Like that's not actually helpful. What's helpful is, you know, doing it right before I'm about to freak out on someone, or doing it like right after a stressful, you know, time in traffic. You know, I think like I haven't been utilizing it in like maybe the best way. So I think this is really helpful for me to like kind of be a little more flexible in how I use it, so that it's actually beneficial and not just something that I can say I do.
Thank you for sharing. She was just saying, April was sharing that this was a really helpful way to kind of relook at her meditation.
Oh, good.
So I'll let you in here really quick.
Sorry.
We have questions all over.
Yeah, I
but,
was talking here in the room.
So, but yeah, I think it was more of a thank you than a question.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Rebby. Like I think I just let the structure of it get you know, the best of me, to where I was just like box checking a meditation every day, and I wasn't really practicing it in the way that is helpful, like when I'm having those stressful moments and when I'm like about to lose my crap. So now I'm like, okay, I need to be less regimented about this and more flexible with like practical use of it. So just thank you. That's all.
It's really meant to help you in the moments that you need it the most. So no, I'm glad that it opened your eyes to a new way that you can practice mindfulness and meditation.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, I think you're so approachable in your teaching, and like you're not intimidating, where like a lot of these like yogis and meditation people are so you know, you have to do it this exact way, and or else you're a failure. And it's like, well, then no one wants to try.
Yeah, no. I try to be really real and just honest about, like, my kid was having a shit fit at Target and I had to deal with it and get him into the car and then deal with my own feelings about his shit fit in Target. So you know, like I think we can all relate to having those moments, either with our partner or you know, with kids or in a business, of where you're like, you want to smack somebody and you know that you can't for a variety of reasons, but you've got to deal with your own feelings about that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And one of these days I'll make it in person.
Love it.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here. You know, we always know that you have a choice in how you spend your time, and lunch is very valuable. So thank you for joining. And again, this was recorded, so we'll be sharing it in the Facebook group if you missed any parts of it, and also on the website. So thank you all. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.